the microphone to Guy there in the middle.
Kane, can you just explain how you're feeling, how the boys are feeling, and how that one played out for you in your mind?
Yeah, obviously a brilliant fighting effort from our guys on what was another tough surface, and sort of required that mentality, and it was really important that we were prepared to do that and stay in the game for a long time. We all know the class side that India are. At the halfway stage, we sort of wanted 240, 250, and we knew that we'd be competitive if we got that, because the surface played the way it did. But then to have the start with the ball that we had was an outstanding way to try and kick things off and try and get into a position of strength. And I thought the way the bowlers and the fielders operated throughout on a big field, on a surface which they had to adapt differently again, was a great effort.
Yeah. Kane, Virat said a little while back that India lost in about 45 minutes of bad cricket. Was that also your assessment, that at 24 for 4, probably you had won the game?
I mean, it's very hard to know exactly, but naturally when you find yourself in that position, it's a great starting point from our perspective in terms of perhaps getting ahead of the game, because the rebuilding phase becomes a lot more tricky. So it was a brilliant start for us with the ball, and you know, I guess on the other side of that coin, India wouldn't have been as happy with that start, but there were some good deliveries in there, which you know, sometimes take the edge and sometimes don't. And today they did for us, and it did put us in a good position.
Kane, can you just take us through the Guptill run-out scenario with Dhoni, because that seems to have been the pivotal moment in the match?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that the game is a fine line in a number of ways, but that run-out was significant. We've seen Dhoni finish games from those similar positions on a number of occasions. It was a tough surface, so nothing promised, but naturally to dismiss Dhoni in whatever fashion is extremely important. But for a direct hit run-out, very, very similar to Jadeja's, I think, was a big moment in the game.
Kane, what was going through your mind when you were standing under that catch from Jadeja? Did you feel like that was the other game-changing moment?
Just to watch the ball and catch it, which was nice that it stuck. Yeah, look, we did believe on that surface that we would get opportunities, especially when they were going hard, but the innings that Jadeja played, it was like he was playing on a different wicket, really. He timed the ball beautifully well. He was very, very clear in how he operated, in that partnership with Dhoni. Sort of swung things to parity, perhaps even them having the momentum going into those last few overs. So they showed those fighting qualities that we expect from our team, and they showed that with the class side that they are, and you do expect that from India, and they did soak it up even after 20 for 4, which was a really tough start. So a very good game of cricket, spanning over 2 days, which is unusual, but a great game all the same.
Hi Ken, this is Kuntal from ABP News Network. My question is, people are still blaming Dhoni even after his innings. Had you been the India captain today, would you have taken Dhoni in your playing 11 now?
Look, he's not eligible to play for New Zealand, but he's a world-class player. So, had I been the Indian captain? Yeah, experience at this level and in these occasions is so important, and his contribution today and yesterday, but throughout this campaign, it was extremely, extremely important, and that partnership that he's involved in with Jadeja, who came in and hit the ball better than anybody in both teams, was very, very valuable. And you know, he's a world-class cricketer, and is he looking to change nationalities, or because we will consider that selection if we have to.
Skipper, your team made Your team made a great start, winning 6 games. They lost 3 games. How did transformation come in the team, and you beat the the hot favourites of the World Cup?
Yeah, there's so much more to winning and losing, and I think it's really, really important that as a side you identify parts of matches where you may have not done things that well, and parts that perhaps were out of your control that went the way of the opposition, and try and look at it for what it is, and move away from that game with a bit of clarity, and so you're not too perhaps scarred or dented from just what the result was. And a couple of those games that we lost, I think we were able to look at them like that throughout this whole tournament. The surfaces have been challenging. They've been variable throughout the game, and at times have changed within the 100 overs that are available for a match. So it's trying to see it for what it is, and then move on and be really clear with how you want to operate in the next game. Look, you want to win every game. You come to this tournament where anybody can beat anybody. We saw a number of results that perhaps were sides ranked lower beat sides ranked higher, and but I think everybody knew that anybody can beat anybody. So when that is the nature of it, it seems unlikely to win every game. But at the same time, you want to try and go out and play the cricket that you want to play for a long period of time, and rely on that to perhaps get you to a finals stage, which we did. We came through in the 4th position, which is fine. And then we put out a much improved performance in the semi-final, and it's important for us to try and make small improvements moving into our next match.
Down the back, Dave.
Kane, just looking ahead to the final, you've obviously lost to Australia and England in the group stage, but you must be confident you can beat anyone now after the way you've played against India.
I mean, every game throughout the round robin was worth a couple of points, so they're all important. Obviously, a semi-final's worth a few more than 2 points, but we'll go into another match and try and implement similar things that are important to our side that gives us the best chance of success. There's so many strong teams in the tournament. Obviously, another semi-final tomorrow that can go either way, 2 very good sides. But we turn up on the day like a lot of other matches, and anybody can beat anybody. And there's a lot of factors involved, sort of within that will play their role, whether it's a final or another game perhaps tomorrow. So it's important that feet on the ground, and we look forward to that challenge.
Kane, bit of a unique game spanning over 2 days. How was it last night? I mean, did you guys get much sleep? Was it nerves? And did it really help to sort of regroup after you put up around 211 and 240?
I think guys slept pretty well. We were focusing on what we needed to achieve in those last sort of 4 overs, and 211 for 5, we felt we were kind of there or thereabouts on target with what we wanted to try and achieve to be competitive on that surface. And it wasn't the sort of wicket that it was 300, it was very much sort of mid 200s, and we were aware of that. So it was trying to get to that 240, 250 stage, against a formidable bowling attack and that of India. So we knew we had to certainly run our 2s well and use those last sort of 23 deliveries as well as we could to get us to that point. And then it was a brilliant start with the ball. So yeah, it was unique that it was over 2 days, but I think it was the right decision in the end. Naturally it just kept raining, didn't it? So we didn't really have a say, but it was great that day could come in handy, certainly from our perspective. Obviously, when you qualify in the 4th position, and a washout doesn't really help you out too much.
Just left here.
Yeah, Ken, second consecutive World Cup final, beating India when everybody was sort of tipping India to. So, do you think what does it mean for cricket's profile in New Zealand? I mean, rugby is the number 1 sport. So, I
don't think it'll change the number 1 sport, but I'm sure people back home are pretty excited, and another great opportunity to play in a World Cup final is something that's rare. Obviously, only every sort of 4 years do you get the opportunity to play in a World Cup, let alone make a final. So, a special moment. But at the same time, we sort of just want to reflect on the good things we did in this match and the things we want to improve on, and try and treat it in a similar respect. So we go into that game and we need to go in and play our best cricket, and what happens sort of in and around that is kind of out of our control.
You chose Bolt to bowl the 46 and 48. Was there a thought, should I delay him for the 49th or the 50th? And how tough was the decision for you as a captain? And secondly, when you're taking under those catches, does any thought pop in your head at all? Or attention? What's the feeling? What exactly happened when the ball is up? What were you thinking, if at all?
Yeah, I suppose you're fairly engaged in the game, so you're kind of watching the ball and you're sort of trying to move the field, and I guess that's the nature of the role as captain. But yeah, look, someone like Trent, obviously a world-class bowler for us. We're trying to use his death overs as well as we could to try and either push the run rate up to a point that it would be more challenging, perhaps hitting to a longer side in those later overs, or B, or I might have got those the wrong way round, but try and dismiss the guys that were batting at the time, Jadeja and Dhoni, who we know can hit the ball a long way and can win games from that position. So trying to use your resources slightly earlier, I think, was a good move. Obviously proved to be an important part of the match, but you never know who's going to pick up the wickets. But then, yeah, in terms of the catches, it was just trying to watch the ball and catch it. Oh, yeah, I can't remember, sorry. Yeah, I don't know, just someone goes, catch it, and it's sort of, it's above me, so it must be mine.
Kia ora, Kane. Congratulations. Since the last match against England, your captaincy has copped a lot of criticism. So what do you think a place in the grand final does for the tone of those comments? And what were conversations like with you and other players around the pitch, especially in those vital moments?
Yeah, I sort of don't really know much about the first part of that question, but I guess as a captain of our side, we try and operate in the best way we can to give ourselves the best chance of success, and it's sort of hard to control what other people say, but we're enjoying our cricket and we're looking forward to the next game, which is the final, which is a really exciting opportunity. And the second part of your question, sorry, what did you say?
It was, what were conversations like in the drink breaks and things like that with your players in those, especially in those critical positions?
Yeah, it was, whilst we had a very good start with the ball, we knew that India were looking to consolidate, and so if we were able to keep looking to take wickets but also try and create pressure where the run rate was going to keep growing, then we thought there were sort of two bites at it. And we know that the class of the Indian side and the depth that they have in their team, and they showed that again today, but it was a really great thing that we kept showing those fighting characteristics that are important to us as a team, and took the game deep, and it was a fine line, but nice to end up on the right side.
Ken, congratulations. With regards to the middle overs, how important was that Mitchell Santner's spell where he was giving away 7 runs in 6 overs with Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya? Do you think that was actually a key moment of the game where the run rate just went about 8, 9, and then the pressure went on? With India wickets being 5 down, it was difficult for them to chase down?
Yeah, it was an outstanding spell from Santner on a surface that no doubt was offering to the slower bowlers, and we saw that in our innings as well, the amount of spin that the Indian spinners got. And he's a world-class bowler, so we sort of expected he would operate well, but obviously to put up a performance like that was pretty special in a period of play that was very, very important. So, there were so many contributions throughout the match, bat, ball, in the field, that we saw that were vital to get across the line today.
Last three, just over here.
Kane, did Auckland 2015 ever flash in your mind? And how do you compare the emotions of these two semi-finals?
Yeah, it didn't actually, but they were two very different games, and I suppose being in the field together is a slightly different feeling versus watching the majority of the second half from my perspective. But I guess there's that real togetherness, team aspect around trying to, I suppose, defend a total. So two very different games, but I suppose you had to respect them in the same way that they were going to be different, and we had to play in a much different fashion. But a lot of that is down to conditions. But at the end of the day, it's been an enjoyable ride, but important that, like I mentioned, the feet are on the ground, and we look forward to our next challenge.
Kane, I've just been outside with a whole lot of Indian fans, and they are really angry. How do you feel being responsible for plunging 1 billion people into a state of mourning and anger and
your
depression?
Friend down here might have been alluding to. I hope they're not too angry. It's obviously the passion for the game in India is unrivaled, and we're all fortunate to play this sport and have a country like India be right behind it and the support that they have for their home team. But hopefully we can adopt 1.5 billion supporters, and they'll be supporting us. What do you reckon? But yeah, obviously, look, India are a world-class side, and the game of cricket is fickle in its nature, especially when it comes to the white ball and 2020 and one-day cricket. And whether it's a semi-final or a final, nothing really promises. And I've got so many world-class players, and the depth that they have in their team means that they're rightly so ranked 1 or 2. But we've mentioned on a number of occasions, on any given day, anybody can beat anybody, and the game is a very, very fine line. And today, perhaps some of those small margins went our way, and it was great that we could get across the line and beat a very strong side. But at the same time, there's obviously a huge amount of respect for India as a cricket side, and I certainly hope that their fans are very much behind them and respect that the game of cricket can be a tough one on a number of occasions.
Last two, David, then Guy.
Kane, given how Martin Guptill struggled with the bat yesterday, how pleasing was it personally to see him come back today and make such a huge contribution with that run out?
Yeah, that was, I mean, he's probably the only man on the pitch that could perhaps create that run out. So contributions can come in so many different ways, and I think we've seen on the fielding charts he's been right up there, and for him to do that and pull off what was a significant turning point in the match was special, and obviously a great thing for our team.
Guy, last one.
What's the situation with Henry Nicholls? I don't think he came out to field at all, and if he would have had to bat today, would he have been able to?
Yeah, it was sort of a tight hamstring. I don't know the fine details, but we do have a few days now where hopefully it can recover nice and quickly. Didn't have to bat today, didn't have to consider those options, but it was precautionary as well as there is something there, so hopefully it was a quick recovery.
Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.
Commiserations, Virat just came under a very world-class spell of fast bowling today.
Yeah, I think the game pretty much changed in those first 40 minutes when we were batting, and as I said in the post-match, New Zealand deserves a lot of credit because they really put up a great display how to bowl with the new ball, and they hit perfect line and lengths, and forced us to sort of make errors, if any, or bowl good deliveries to us. So yeah, the pressure created was immense in those first 40-45 minutes, and when you lose 3 wickets for 6, it's very difficult to come back into the game. Still, I think our effort was commendable, but yeah, that first spell made all the difference.
Virat, wanted to know that one bad day could have happened with any team, and top order played 8 out of 10 matches they played well, and even the England match that India lost. So do you think that there was one day that probably you should have expected the middle order to at least put their hands up, because you and Rohit and KL have done the job for 7 or 8 matches? So are you disappointed?
Well, look, you obviously feel bad for the result. and everyone goes out there to win the game for the team. And if it doesn't happen, you obviously feel like you could have done things differently or look at things in hindsight. But yeah, that's why these games are called knockouts, because if the opposition plays better, you're out of the tournament suddenly. So we have to accept that. I think we're sad, but we're not devastated, because the kind of cricket that we played in this tournament, we know where we stood as a team, and today we were not good enough, and that's the nature of this tournament, that a bad day at the knockout stage and you're out of the tournament. So I don't think that I would like to break things down immediately, but in time we'll have to sit down and analyze where we went wrong and the things that we could have done right in this game particularly.
Virat, at the halfway stage, 240 odd runs to get, what was the feeling in the camp, and could the shot selection could have been better at the top order, maybe?
Yeah, look, Rohit got a really good ball. I thought my ball was also decent. Yeah, a couple of short selections, yes, could have been better, which I already mentioned. Chasing 240, we were very comfortable. We were confident that we can get the score. Start is always important, and yeah, look, as I said, New Zealand, the way they bowled did not provide any opportunities for us. I think for the first 7 or 8 overs, we didn't get a ball to drive. So that shows the kind of control they bowled with, and they put the fielders in the right positions, and there was a perfect spell of fast bowling with the new ball, which really put us under a lot of pressure. So as I said, we were not shying away from accepting that we didn't stand up to the challenge, and we were not good enough under pressure, and we have to accept that and accept the failure as it shows on the scoreboard.
Virat, the initial setback obviously was there, but after that, Hardik and Rishabh looked like they were settling down. A little heartbroken with the shot that Rishabh played at that point in time, maybe could have been otherwise.
Look, he's an instinctive player, and he did well to overcome that situation and string in a partnership with Hardik. I think the way they played after loss of 3 wickets was 4 wickets rather was quite commendable. And in hindsight, he's still young, so I made many errors when I was young in my career, and he will learn. He will look back and think, yes, he could have chosen a different option in that situation maybe, and he realizes that already. So, all these guys have a lot of pride and passion to play for the country, and they are the ones who feel the most disappointed when a mistake happens. On the outside, I know it looks like, it was an error, but the person who makes it, trust me, they are the ones who suffer the most with it. So I'm sure he'll reflect on it, and he'll come out stronger. The talent is there for everyone to see, and the character's there. But as I said, yes, a few shots, not just Rishabh, but that happens in sport. You make errors, you make decisions which are not right at that time, and you have to accept it.
Virat, through the campaign, there were discussions in the media. I'm sure you're aware about the Dhoni's strike rate. As a captain, was it a first bit of a concern for you that perhaps the lower order could have forced the pace more and could have collected runs faster?
Well, look, it's always a safer option to look at it from outside and say maybe this could have happened. But I think today he was batting with Jaddu, and there was only Bhuvi to follow after, so he had to hold one end together, in my opinion. And because Jaddu was playing so well, you needed a solid partnership, and to get a 100-run partnership from that situation, I think it had to be the right balance of one guy holding an end and Jaddu playing the way he did. I think his knock was outstanding. So, as I said, when you don't win, in hindsight, a lot of things can reflect in different manners, but you have to understand how the game panned out and till what stage did the game go. And, you would obviously expect New Zealand to fight back at some stage, because the target was steep after losing, 5-6 wickets. But the way they batted together, I think it was the perfect tempo for that situation, according to me.
Virat, can you explain the reasons why MS came so late in the order, at 7? So.
Well, he's been given that role after the first few games of being in a situation where, he can, if the situation's bad, then he can control one end like he did today, or if there's a scenario where there's 6-7 overs left, then he can go and strike. So, yeah, that was the mindset behind it.
Virat, regarding the batting in the middle overs, Mitchell Santner gave away only 7 runs in his first 6 overs and took 2 wickets. So do you think we should have played him a little more aggressively? 7 runs in his first 6 overs.
Look, I wasn't there out in the middle. So again, it's very easy for me to say yes, we could have, or no, it was fine. But if I knew the pace of the wicket, what the ball is doing, you looked at the scoreboard, the situation was such. So we leave responsibility to the two guys in the middle to make decisions, because eventually as an individual you play one ball at a time yourself, and then you're talking with your partner. So from the outside it's very easy for us to analyze, whether they should have or they shouldn't have, but it should be left up to the individuals, and they come up themselves and say maybe my decision wasn't right. So and you have to accept that. That's how failures teach you, and you improve in sport like that. But you have to accept errors also. We're not denying any errors, but I'm saying that only the guys who are in that situation, if I was in there and I played in that manner, I would be able to tell you why. So as I said again, in hindsight, a lot of things can be up for discussion, but you can never really assess from the outside whether it should have been done or not.
Virat, how are you as a captain and as a player taking this whole yourself, this disappointment? Basically, how are you feeling about it right now?
Of course, very disappointed. We played outstanding cricket, as I mentioned already, throughout this tournament, and to just go out on the basis of 45 minutes of bad cricket is saddening, and it breaks your heart also, because you worked so hard throughout the tournament to build momentum. You finish in number one in the table, and then a spell of bad cricket, and then you're out of the tournament completely. So, but you have to accept it. I mean, it's happened to us before, and we have all come out better cricketers because of these setbacks, especially at a stage like World Cup. But having said that, I mean, we have qualified till the semis, and we have played some really good cricket. So we should be also proud of the way we've played, and look at the positives also, because there were a lot throughout this tournament. Especially Rohit's performance was, I think, standout performance, and Jasprit with the ball, and Jadeja given the opportunities. So there are many things that we can take back as positives. But not having played that bad cricket, and then just, as I said, 40-45 minutes of bad cricket puts you out. But as a sportsman, you have to accept it, that this is part and parcel of this game.
Virat, New Zealand often seen as an understated sort of side that snuck into the finals after 3 losses. Did they surprise you today? And also, what's your how do you see them faring in the final against either India or Australia?
I wasn't surprised at all with how New Zealand played, to be honest. If there's a low total, then we knew there's probably only 1 or 2 sides in world cricket that'll put 7 fielders in the ring, and that was always going to be one was going to be New Zealand. So we knew that they're going to attack more. They would not let the game go till the end, won't take it deep. They'll just go all out and play the game that way, because I've seen them play that way. Today also, third man was up in the ring, and in a one-day game, you had 5 catching fielders. So they know how to put pressure, because they play very consistent cricket. And today was an example of that. And your second question was who?
How do you see them faring in the final against either England or Australia?
Well, it really depends on the day. I mean, if conditions are good to bat, and then they'll have to bat really well. If conditions are bowler friendly and they put up enough runs on the board, then they become a dangerous side, as you saw in this game. So it's anyone's game, I guess. Knockouts, as you saw today, whoever plays well on that day wins. So yeah, I wouldn't pick anyone as favourites. The team has to play well to win.
Jadeja had this wonderfully cute celebration, 50 looking at probably at Sanjay Manjrekar. And so how was you reacting in the team? And when did he go out? He seemed to be in tremendous mood, the way he ran down and hit a 6. Did he say something before he went out to bat itself? And there was a point at last 3 overs were left, 30 or something. You were sitting in the balcony, you seemed to say, ho jayega. You were confident at that time, just when Bolt came. So Jadeja, the celebration, and the last 3 overs.
I don't think any of us had to say anything to Jadeja after what happened over the last 1 week. He was quite ready to just get onto the park, to be honest. And you saw that the passion with which he played, and we've seen it in Test cricket a few times. He's played knocks under tremendous pressure, and he's got how many 3 triple hundreds in first class cricket, if I'm not wrong. So the talent's obviously always been there, and in my watching Jadeja for 10 years, me playing with him as well, this is probably his top quality, like best knock according to me, because the kind of pressure, the stage we are at, almost out of the game, and then he produces that. So he was very motivated. Yes, at that stage, we all felt like in the change room, the game can be closed out. It can be done, but then again, he played so well. And then, a mistake can happen at any stage. I don't think it was even a mistake. It was just lack of execution, which in one-day cricket, you have to take a risk here and there. So I'm really happy for him because, he's been a very understated cricketer, but a top-quality cricketer for India in the field, with the ball, with the bat, priceless. So, yeah, he's had a great, great game today.
Virat, 45 minutes of, as you said, 45 minutes of bad play ended the number one team's campaign. So the knockouts, you think there should be a constructive suggestion that it could be like playoffs 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 like that?
Well, who knows in future? Maybe. I mean, if topping the table means anything, then I think these things can come into consideration. Looking at the magnitude of this tournament, that's a really valid point, I guess. But yeah, you never know when that's going to be implemented. But I think that's the challenge and different kind of fun of these games as well, that you have to be absolutely precise. It doesn't matter what you've done before that. It's a fresh day, fresh start. And if you're not good enough, you go home. So yeah, you have to accept that. As I said, it's a different challenge for all the teams to turn up on that day and be absolutely at the top of their game. And whoever does that, they get the result as you saw today.
Final question in relation to Virat, I think it was after the Pant wicket you went and told Shaz something. If you can reveal what you said exactly. And the other thing was you seem to be angry at your dismissal. In the knockouts that you've played, the points will come up that you have not scored. But personally, how disappointing has it been for you? Not just this, but not having scored that in the knockout matches in the World Tournaments.
Yeah, it's very disappointing not turning up when the team wanted me to. Obviously, it feels bad. Everyone gets disappointed when they get out, so it was a natural reaction. With Ravi Bhai, I was discussing what happened and what's the plan going forward from that situation, and what kind of information needs to be sent out there in the middle so we can assess where the game needs to go. So yeah, these were the events that happened exactly, and yeah, the points will always come up. I'm ready for that.
When you said the plan, was it like, did you say what from that moment onwards, what was the plan?
I mean, the plan was we were targeting till what over should we have X score, so we can, analyze where we stand after that and how many overs are left from bowlers and all those kind of things. So we have a better idea what to say to the guys who are out there in the middle, because when you're having a partnership, I think after a stage you still need a fresh sort of feedback from the dressing room to tell them this is where we need to head in the next 10, 12 overs, and then that eases off the pressure a little bit, in my opinion. So yeah, that was the discussion.
विराट भाई, इसके आगे भारतीय टीम वेस्ट इंडीज जा रही है, वहाँ वनडे क्रिकेट भी खेलना है, तो अभी भी स्पेकुलेशन जारी है कि महेंद्र सिंह धोनी क्या करने वाला, क्या कुछ कहा है वो उन्होंने आपको या फिर टीम को, क्या उनका फ्यूचर क्या होगा, क्या निर्णय?
सर, अभी तक हमको कुछ नहीं बोला उन्होंने.
विराट, पूरे टूर्नामेंट में हमने देखा कि बड़ी तादाद में इंडियन फैंस मैच को आ रहे थे, सपोर्ट कर रहे थे. मैच हारने के बाद वो भी डिसअपॉइंट होते हैं, लेकिन सबसे दुख प्लेयर्स को ज़्यादा होता है. तो ये स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर इंडिया में आने के लिए ये फैंस को भी ये समझना कितना ज़रूरी है कि हीरो और ज़ीरो बनाना गलती होती है.
काफ़ी ज़रूरी है सर. स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अगर आप बात करें तो इसीलिए मैंने बोला कि हमें पॉजिटिव्स की तरफ भी देखना चाहिए कि हमने कैसी क्रिकेट खेली इस टूर्नामेंट में. और बहुत आसान होता है कि अगर आप बैठ के बोलें कि हाँ उसने नहीं किया या वो नहीं कर पाए, और जब आप जीत रहे हैं तो आपको एकदम ऊपर चढ़ा दिया जाए. तो एज ए स्पोर्ट्समैन आप इंडिविजुअली उस चीज़ को कितना लेवल तक एक्सेप्ट करते हैं वो आपके हाथ में है, लेकिन जब वो बड़े स्केल पे होता है तो वो एक आई थिंक नेशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बन जाती है सबकी, कि आप किस तरीके से स्पोर्ट को देखते हैं और किस तरीके से आप रिएक्ट करते हैं स्पोर्ट के लिए. तो मैं हमेशा से ही इसी चीज़ की फेवर में रहा हूँ कि अगर जीतें भी तो एक मेजर्ड रिएक्शन होना चाहिए, और अगर हारे भी तो डिसअपॉइंटमेंट होती है, लेकिन वो जब एक्सट्रीम हो जाता है तो फिर कई प्लेयर्स उसको शायद ना प्रोसेस कर पाएँ. तो आई थिंक हर चीज़ बैलेंस में चलनी बहुत ज़रूरी है. आपको अगर क्रिकेट की गेम भी जीतनी है तो बैलेंस तरीके से ही जीत सकते हैं. तो आई थिंक वो फैंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी आपने जो कहा वो एकदम ठीक है कि अगर स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर हमारा और स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए, जो ऑलरेडी स्ट्रॉन्ग है उसको और स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए हमें जीत या हार में मेजर्ड रहना चाहिए. वो मेरा ओपिनियन है, जैसे कि क्रिकेटर से हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. तो ये जो आपने बोला बात सही हो. थैंक यू.